Great. Good morning. Yes, welcome, Paradigm Shifters. It's Transformation Tuesday. Whoa, it is October 31st, 2023. Happy Halloween, everybody. Right? What a month. So, this is Paradigm Shifters, and we've been meeting every Tuesday since March of 2020. Yeah, and we are a growing global community. I'm going to ask Debbie to unmute yourself. And, we are a growing global community dedicated to shift and uplift the whole planet. We've got people tuning in from all over the world. I love it. So, for October 2023, our topic has been embracing change. Let's take a deep breath in here and release it and bring to mind a change that maybe you're holding on to and don't want to let go of, or maybe a time where you did let go and change happened and it was better than you ever could have thought about or imagined. Because we know that there's this power that's within each one of us who's yearning and telling us, okay, it's time to grow, which is that. So for our guest today, on October 31st, it's Debbie Ann Sumner. And I first met you, Debbie, just a couple weeks ago in a breakout room in coach training.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were talking about speaking experiences, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, so here's a little bit about Debbie, and then I'm going to turn it over here. So, growing up, Debbie had the opportunity to work in her family's travel business and continued to do so your entire life. Boy, that's ideal. I would have loved to have done that. So, Debbie's experiences have resulted in a wonderful life full of adventure and travel. And in her 36 plus year journey as an Alpine level 3 ski and level 2 snowboard instructor, as well as inline skate instructor, you've trained, developed, and certified instructors in both skiing and inline skating industry. Wow, fitness. So Debbie also discovered the difference she can make with her over 55 adult community as a yoga and Nordic walking instructor. Her personal path with chronic illness helped her to discover a new pathway in health and healing. So, combined with her sports, fitness, and chronic disease journey, this knowledge helped her realize that, Debbie, you really can make a difference in others in their health journey. So, I'm going to turn this over to you and tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your journey and how that's helped you get to where you are today.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's definitely been a journey of discovery through marriage, divorce, chronic illness. Um, I recently just did a huge change and moved from Washington State to California here. And it was the completion actually of my marriage as well. Because I sold off my home that I had purchased with my ex-husband on that journey. Um, and it was quite amazing. I had to make a decision last year, about almost 2 years ago, uh, on what do I do? Do I keep my home, stay in debt? COVID had just been in. Um, Work wasn't happening as much. And I had to look at my life and just go, what's next? So I continue on this journey of debt. Do I get free of debt? How do I do that? And I took the plunge and sold my home and changed locations and moved to California. and so that I could be debt free and create newly. And then as a result of that, I chose to become a life mastery coach, and support other people going through the same things that I have gotten through so they could powerfully come through it and create a new life. Um, yeah, so that's how I got here. So there's a lot of other things that I can share. Is there anything that stands out for you, Judy, that you'd like to me to dive
Yeah.
into a little bit more?
Well, I'm really interested in your health and healing journey as well, um, and also how your past as an instructor. I mean, that's pretty physical. And I just as an aside, I remember as a kid, I grew up in Pennsylvania, and the skiing that we did was we had snow boots and those boards, and we would strap the skis on. There wasn't enough money for us to get tow tickets, but we would go to the hill and walk sideways up and ski down. And anyway, I just know that that was invigorating. It told all the cells in my body, you're alive, you're strong. And I think that part really is fascinating to me and also you mentioned that you have a life of adventure and travel. And how has that helped you even in any type of change?
Thank you. Gosh, lots, lots there. Let's start. I'll start with the travel. Um, so growing up traveling, it was wonderful because we got lots of deals across the world. With my dad being in the business, even since I was, you know, a kid, a baby in his arms, and we started traveling. And that really opened up me up to cultures and people and really changed, like not getting stuck and just being in your home, getting out and being on adventures, trying new things. So I think that helped me embrace change moving forward into my life. Because as I got into teaching skiing and teaching skating, I traveled a lot. I taught people across the world. Um, and it really did change my life and it changed my connections in my community. I have so many communities across the world. So that's just been really amazing, and in the time I can even connect it into like as I got into chronic disease, having those connections is what some of the things that just kept me going, being out, being able to reach out to others, and engage and talk about, good times. And it even kept me, like even when I felt horrible and I didn't want to go outside, I just wanted to stay in bed all day because I didn't feel good. I was like, no, I'm going to get out and I'm going to do that Nordic walk and take my dog. We're going anyway. I really feel, that adventure, but also the sports and the ability to push myself beyond my envelope, helped me to be active, even though I was dealing with a lot of pain and chronic disease. So, yeah, really made a difference. And then kind of moving into, dealing with my chronic disease, being an athlete, someone who was active. If I'm not skiing or skating, I'm walking, I'm at the gym, I'm, doing yoga, and going from, you know, all day being out on the slopes and then coming home and knowing I need to stretch and do yoga stuff anyway, that kind of activity to like barely getting an hour in a day, maybe two if I'm lucky, because I decided to teach something. Like I would teach, I kept teaching, I just had to pace myself so I didn't put myself down. So it was really a difficult time to not be able to be fully me in my body. Um, and and it was hard because I didn't get support from my ex-husband either. It was, what's wrong with you? Well, I'm sick, you know. But having a chronic disease and an autoimmune disease isn't as clear to other people. the pain you're in and what you're dealing with. And it wasn't as clear to him, no matter what I told him. He didn't believe me. So that was a really difficult time to go through as well. And I also couldn't have kids as a result. So there was a lot of things that threw my marriage off, changed my everyday life. Um, that was quite difficult,
Yeah.
the shift, because the joy of going on adventures, I couldn't do as many, you know. So, and through that time period was growth, you know, but no matter how hard it was, I mean, my life completely changed. Um, how I looked at things completely changed, you know, getting up in the morning, I looked at the day differently than I used to. Meaning that it was like, how am I going to survive to the end of the day versus I'm going to get up and I'm going to create all these things, So it was a big shift. Um, and coming out of that, it really took something for me to shift my thinking when I got up in the morning and just, okay, today, instead of I'm going to do all these things, today I'm going to get out and I'm going to, I'm going to try my skates or I'm going to try my Nordic walking or I'm going to focus on doing really good at that 1 hour that I'm out, So I focus my life differently and positively, So that got me out of bed and take care of my dog and we're going to go for a 2 hour hike, you know, and I'm going to pace it at a pace that works for me. Even if I stop every 10 minutes, I got out and I did it anyway. I'd bring a snack with me and me and my dog would relax and meditate and enjoy the scenery and nature. So it really made me having to start to connect more inside myself, and listen to my body and its needs instead of pushing through. Use that strength of my athleticism, but not force. Use that mental strength, not the force in the body,
Love that.
So yeah, yeah. So that really made a huge difference for just helping me move forward every single day through it. And then the whole medical thing, like Western medicine wasn't working for me. It just wasn't working. And they're just giving me medicines to deal with the pain and the obvious signs, right? And so I had to get in and dig in, like, what's really going on. And I had an incident that really woke me up. I was going to my naturopathic doctor, and we had just done some tests, and we found out that I also had Lyme's disease along with my autoimmune disease, and I guess they go along with each other a lot, at least in the naturopathic world. And I had been doing the dishes, and a piece of glass slivered, so they broke a piece of glass. And next thing you know, my hands all puffed up. I'm in the hospital 4 days, operation, 6 months down. It was like, boom, my whole immune system just went, shoo, and I was down. But, you know, in that instant is when I realized I really needed to start digging in and seeing what's going on with my body even more. Um, so I did. So that was the journey of going to different doctors and naturopaths and taking all kinds of tests and um, doing healing work like Reiki and I went through. I mean, you name it. I've gone probably through that mode of healing work. I did a lot of work on that, and within that, really discovered a lot of great modes of healing. And I would say, coming now forward in the future, what I also learned is that I can heal myself.
There you go, right there. I love that because it ties way back in with your growing up adventure and journey,
Mm,
and that I love what you said. Pace it and what works for you without, I'm just saying, it's your journey, your emotional, physical, and spiritual journey along the way too. Yes, 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 yes. And so I really love that. What I wanted to ask you is your experience as an instructor and a teacher.
Mhm.
You know, what did you learn, about your students that helped you incorporate that within yourself when you, I don't want to say needed, chose to be pushed beyond the pain, pushed, I don't want pushed or pulled, we're pushed, we're pushed by pain or pulled by a vision. So, did you have a feeling of creating a vision for yourself during any of that time?
I did.
Tell me
And
about that. Yeah, tell me.
well, my vision, it definitely changed as I grew. But I always envisioned myself being healthy again. I always envisioned myself reversing my autoimmune disease, and being healthy.
So I
And
love what our coach says, Kirsten, that a part of you, we don't really have it, we have a power within us, and this just happens to be this condition that's there, right? And I've known so many people that will claim it, like I'm a cancer person. Well, no, you're a child of God or of the Spirit, and this is a condition that you're going through. So anyway, tell me more. I didn't mean to interrupt, but
oh,
how
that's good.
that is,
Yeah,
yeah.
there was a time where it was more like, I do believe I can heal and reverse it, but I had so many doubts about that. And
Tell
so
me about getting.
there was more of like, how do I live with it? Accept it and live with it. And then it transformed into, wait a minute, why accept it? I mean, I could accept that I have it now and in the past, and moving forward, I'm healed. So there was a huge shift in the strength of that thought, you know. Yeah, exactly. So I started envisioning, especially, once I got connected with Brave Thinking Institute. That's when my thought pattern really was like, I still do it. I lay in bed at night and I'll imagine my healthy cells around the areas that I'm working on, you know, keeping me healthy and being alive and active, and, how it feels when my body feels really good, and I do that every night,
How many nights?
every night, like a minute.
Even when you're feeling okay.
Yep. I'm always envisioning it, you know. And now where I'm at, I'm still on the healing path and I'm healed, right? So so there's those things that I'm taking to that next level. That's how I see it.
Oh, this is great news. This is good news. Good news. Good news. So tell me about um, the. I don't know. You said something about stretching in yoga. So what is stretching? What does stretching look like? Like physically, spiritually, emotionally. What does that word mean to you? How can you teach us more about that stretch?
um, well, there's so many levels. I mean, yoga is mind, body, spirit. I know in America a lot of times we just use it as the physical. And that's how I got into it originally. But then I started realizing the real connection. You're not just stretching your body, you're stretching your mind, you're stretching your spirit. And, you know, yoga is something that there was a time when I was practicing it like every day almost. And then it became a time where I can't say I wasn't practicing it every day. I always would at least take a few minutes to do some stretches. because so that my back would feel good or my body would feel good. So it is incorporated into my life. I just don't go to the hour class every day like I used to. I listen to what my body needs. And I do. I really feel like as I expand my body, I also do Pilates now, which is you do a lot of yoga moves in it, but on a machine, on a reformer machine, which is really great. And I just really feel it's like you're expanding your body, you're opening it up and you're stretching it for health, to be healthy. I feel so alive when I'm done doing yoga or Pilates. Whole body feels alive.
I love it. I love it. You also said about, so much of your life has been out in nature on the slopes and all that. And it reminded me this morning, it's a beautiful day here in Texas and it's cold out. And I'm like, uh, for me, it's a must to get out no matter what the weather is to see. And I was walking and I'm like, wait a minute, let me just stop and be in the moment. And I saw the water and the sun and the trees. And I'm like, oh, what if I stop and took this beautiful breath of air and noticed what I'm noticing right here? And it was almost like, oh, there's the physical workout, there's the spiritual and emotional workout. Because even if I'm moving my body, my mind was going a million miles. What am I doing today? Who am I seeing? I'm like, no, just stop and notice. So when you're out in nature, oh my gosh, I can imagine you had so many experiences in the snow and snowboarding. That's maximum. So, can you tell us perhaps a story of perhaps yourself going down the slopes and maybe embracing the change in your body and the weather, or maybe a student where they had these aha moments?
On the ski slopes. Yeah, well, let's start with myself. You know, and here's the thing, I worked for a ski school just until I moved from Washington as a high-end ski school. So I'm always working with advanced expert skiers there. And so I get to free ski a lot while I'm teaching. I guess what I'm trying to say, you know. But what's really amazing is as I'm teaching my students, I'm also connecting that into my body, what I'm teaching them, you know. And I remember a time I was in Snoqualmie in Washington, and I had 3 people in my group, and we're going down this expert run actually. And so I was really focusing them in and getting a rhythm down the slope and keeping it continuous instead of stop, go, you know. Um, and as I was demonstrating, just really being in my body, connected to the ground and the snow, feeling the change in the snow. It was soft, it was generous, you just this feeling of freedom in your body, and all is aligned. There's these moments where just everything is aligned. I'm in this beautiful nature. My body is performing. The snow is working for me as I feel it and I work with it in alignment, balance. Like what that's what I get from skiing. And I was there relaying it to my students, And when one of my students started to get that rhythm going, you could just see the look on their face as it lit up. It's like, this is what skiing is about. It's not about that struggle, that stop, that go. It's the alignment, it's the balance. And that's where I feel bringing my sports, teaching that, because not everybody teaches that to their students. Maybe we don't always in words, but that's what I'm bringing to them to find that, and that relates to our life, right? When things are in alignment with the universe, things flow, right? And when they're not, it's stop, go, uncomfortable, you know. So
Oh, wow. You just see
yeah.
your face lighting up. Well, I love it. I so love it. Like, we talked this month about embracing change here and embrace, like, almost resisting the change. And I love it. Well, let's talk about our health and our body, the change, which is that's where it all starts anyway. So I love it. So if you could have like one message that you would love to put out to um, not just the paradigm shifters and stuff, but one of the cool things about these videos is that they live on YouTube forever and ever. And if you could give a tip or a tool or a message out to possibly people who are resisting some kind of change in their bodies and their health, what would that be? What would you love to say? Hmm.
That on that journey, there is a level of acceptance so that you're not resisting what you have, right? Once you can accept it, then you can understand it. Okay. Then you can be with it. And then the next step is that's now the past. Focus on the health and that you're healed in the future. And that would be my message is to keep that vision of you are fully healed. And now this is the past after you accept it. And that's what's going to help you heal and be fully healed.
Wow, there you go. Boom, boom. I love it. Well, what we love to do in Paradigm Shifters is to um, ask you what you would love to have us hold for you, Debbie. What would you love? And we will energetically hold it for you, and send it your way. What would you love? What a question, right?
Yeah, it really is. Um, Holds my dream of making a difference for others and being able to share that with others so that others can shift their life so that they live a life that they love.
Would you love that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, here we go. Well, so here's what we love to do. We're getting our energetic. Everything's energy, right? So we're getting our energy, and we're going to shoot it all the way out to California. And all you have to do is receive our
Okay.
loving energy. Here it comes.
Ooh, beautiful. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for being here. We appreciate you, and we're so see you as a light in the world. So thank you so much for coming on Transformation Tuesday.
Thank you for having me. It's a
Oh,
pleasure.
great, awesome.